in our web designing, web development, UI development, whatever you would say. Okay, so first of all, I think you all know what is UI design, UI development. So earlier, I think around 5 to 7 years ago, there was particular uh, different roles for a designer and a developer. So designer always seems to be have some getting some designs done, and then get the HTML done for those, and then developer has the role of kind of implementing their code and injecting their code into those designs. But nowadays there is a kind of mediator role, kind of your developer. So these days industry is expecting a person doing UI should also hand some hands-on on this JavaScript and the hands-on on libraries, so he can at least include some libraries and had some hands-on knowledge. So this mediator role comes into the action, which is kind of UI developer. So as this slide says, is UI design generally focuses on their user experience. So user experience is basically how user interact within website web application. Like if you visit a website, so a user should it should be very easy for a user to navigate the website. Like he should be able, like, these are the buttons and these are the navigation points and these are the picture library. So for example, if you are visiting some gallery, like you may be searching for a car, and then you maybe second-hand car or a new car. So like you go to some website and you are visiting this photo of, you click the photo of a car, and if you see, like, there is a label coming behind below that, like it's showing 1 out of 5. So it generally tells you that, like, so there are multiple pictures and you can navigate to another pictures. So that is kind of user experience. Like we should always think of what user is expecting. So if there is no 1 to 5, user will never got to know that there are multiple pictures and you can navigate from those pictures. And if you are kind of submitting some form, so there should be some buttons very well placed and very well colored with its action colors, so that user always get to know that these are the main focus areas which we need to see. So users should not search on the things like, this is the, I need to search on the website and where kind of find this. So the main point should always be prominent. And after that, UI design and development is the role of UI designer. So he has so what role he has to play? He has to design all the screens which user will navigate, user will go through, and those should be all interactive and to facilitate to the user. Like these are the pages, and user should easily navigate through all those things. So he should not be like searching all the websites is what he is looking for. So now this is a mediator role, which is your developer. So if I go in summary in one-liner role, so you can say like your developer is kind of person who just design the HTML and inject some JavaScript kind of thing. So that is not the particular thing. So your developer have very lot things to do. So if someone graphic designer has some designs ready, so he need to communicate with them, acquire their like knowledge. So what's their thinking on designing those prototypes, what they're thinking on designing those Photoshop files. So those prototypes can be on Sketch, Photoshop, like XD, Figma. There are a lot of tools available there. So once designer is ready with the designs on basis of client's requirements, so your developer need to acquire those guides, like, so what you're thinking and what your process of designing. So if I need to convert it to HTML and like website, so he should understand what client is expecting. So then he also need to understand what are the latest web practices, like color theories, typography. Like there is very like it's not like we are just say like this is the primary color website. So if sometimes you visit his website, you generally see like there is always a primary color which website choose. So these days a lot of website you will be seeing there is the color which is very high on these days is like shades of blue. So you will be looking on those blue colors all over there, like different shades of blue buttons, different shades of blue backgrounds, or kind of those. So every website choose a primary color. So it's not like this. I know this is the primary color, this is secondary, and just create the HTML and all those things. So a UI developer should know the transparent colors. Like he should know, like if this is the primary color, so what highlight color which will match with these colors, and what other colors which can you can be choose with those colors. So if I need to choose some different color, then I should know, like I cannot choose any random color. So that color theory, typography, and there are some design principle and patterns. So he should like understand for those to design a website or web application. And then comes the major part, which is designing the code. So before designing the code, there is also a role that comes to like acquiring understanding kind of thing. So designing in this designing role, this always they like creating this HTML, CSS, JavaScript file. So there's a prominent role that the basic need of a UI developer. So this he should know. And then he also expected to communicate, like if he has designed the HTML, or if he has modified some HTML, he has placed this button, he has placed the accordion, or he has placed a tab at places. So why he has done so, what was his thinking about behind that. So these are like major roles that your developer should play. So it's not only like he's just designing and all the things, and that's it. So these are also like kind of expectation from industry for a UI developer. So there is one basic misconception, like since these terms come into life, like UI and UX, those are all debatable. These both terms are always debatable, and till now these are also debatable. If you search on internet, there are lot of articles are there presented with this confusion between UI and UX. Some people say like UI is subset of UX. Some people say that these are two different roles, and some people say like these both should be combined, and so one person should play this all of the roles. So we will just talk a bit and talk short in this UI and UX. So first of all, UX is basically user experience, and UI is for user interface. So what generally we understand, the person who is designing a website is always a UI guy. UI is basically he is designing the HTML, he's designing the pages, he's like adding the buttons, cards, placing menus, and all those things. And experience is always a bigger role to play. He has to like see all how a user will navigate, how a user will navigate to the website, and how he communicates with the website or web application. So like if a person is coming to website, so he might be searching for a summarized content of homepage, or maybe he's searching of testimonial page, or like he's searching for a menu at the top. So like and where should we place the search bar, search button. So those all thinking process and get implemented with the designer is the role of UX guy. So we will just like read in a bit about UI design. So I was reading an article on UX Planet. So I have taken this phrase from this UX Planet website. So I have mentioned that source. So that is always important. So like as you all know, UI is user interface, and this mostly related to the like kind of content on the website. Like as you see it's written here, like there might be contains images, slider, like there are text boxes, then there can be transitions between elements. So those are all kind of user interface. So all these things which a person is doing a user interface designing, user interface development. And then comes the UX. So user experience is always determined by how the user interact with all these things. So it is the role of user experience person to make this all interaction very smooth, and it should not be confusing. So like while navigating an app, user should not get confused. Those all navigating between the pages and like navigate between the articles, scrolling through the page should be very smooth, and it's not should be very cluttered or confusing. Let's say, for example, if I am visiting a website and I am looking for something like, if you say like you was looking for a designer catalog. Let's say you must have visited the site Mintra. So you all know like there are some like blocks, there are categories, there are brands, and you always see that these are the primary things that are placed on the homepage, and I can navigate to the sub pages very easily, and that's a pretty easy navigation kind of thing. But sometimes on some websites, some websites is very hard to find things. Like if I need to uh, uh, get to some brand or some particular specific category, so that is very difficult for me to find. I need to some filter and all those things. So what should be prominent and what should be like hidden? That is role of UX person. And now we will just summarize in few lines what is CSS and how its role. So there are three particular specific things which a website is content of: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So if I define just these three things in a single line, then it should be like HTML defines what content a should website be having. CSS defines how this should be get displayed, and JavaScript is how they interact with the persons in the with the user. So all these three things which consist of website consist of all these three things. Yeah. So CSS is very prominent. We can change the appearance of a web page. We can change how website should appear, how website should behave on various devices like desktop, tablets, and mobiles. So if you are seeing a website is smooth in like all the screen sizes, these days I think most of us like visiting many websites on mobiles. So let's say you have visited one website and then you like it, and then on another day you just visit that website on your mobile. So if that shows very clutter on a mobile, then maybe you will not that visit that website again. So I will just open this website and I will show you like how a CSS will affect a website. So let's say this is a website and they have this is a website of picture gallery. So let's say they have this CSS, and I think let's get rid of the CSS. So I have removed the CSS of this page. So if you see this is a website which I don't want to visit again if a website comes in this shape. So this way, I think website has very prominent CSS very prominent role in a website's life. Without CSS, like website can become dull or maybe not very friendly. So now come the major thing for which we will be talking about today. So which is CSS framework. So why CSS framework come into the role? So the first CSS framework, which is you all might be know that name, the Bootstrap. So everyone know what Bootstrap is like. Not if not Bootstrap is, but all everyone like if we are looking on the website or you are working a bit on web, so you might be knowing this name of Bootstrap. So Bootstrap is the most common or you can say most popular CSS framework. So why this CSS framework get into existing? So whenever I get to working on CSS, we always need to fight on make the website visible on mobiles. We always need to fight on making website visible on like tablets, and sometimes we have like a button, so we need to make them standardized things. So we always fight. We always get like if I see this mobile on fight mobile, so it will they these days every website has their own view on the mobile. So like this website I can easily visit a mobile, so all this done with CSS. So we need to write a lot and lot of CSS to get that get to work on mobiles and tablets and all the devices. And also I need to get a lot of CSS of buttons in all the places. So if say I have buttons for like forms to submit buttons, cancel buttons, like maybe some declining buttons. So I need to make them CSS, and then sometimes those CSS get repeated and all those things. So CSS framework uh, come into life, and they gives a standardization to this websites. So CSS framework is just a library like which is more standards. They have like standard CSS files, they have standard CSS classes, and they have standard CSS components, and they come with CSS buttons. So they give some standard life to our web pages. Excuse me. So like if you want if you have visited any website, so you can see many components. So like you must have, they must have buttons, so they must have some accordions into the into this websites. They have cards, they have modals, pop-ups and modals. Then there's some alert messages, like if you are doing some filling some form, and like you see some error message like this user already exists, or maybe not connected to server. So all those error messages are there. And there are some like tables, then data tables, then lots of other things. So what CSS frameworks give, they give them standardized to all these things. And other than this, there is one big thing, which is responsive web design. So what is responsive web design? So responsive web design is basically like to make a website easily visible on all the devices and all the screen sizes. So let's say from mobile device size, which is kind of going downwards to 400 px wide, then to tablets like 768 and 1024 wide tablets, and then to screen sizes of like laptops and screen sizes of 1024, 1349 pixels. And then again, like sometimes you also need to support big screen sizes. So like TV kind of sizes are there, which is 1920 and more than that, like kind of sizes. So need to support all those screen sizes. So Bootstrap and other CSS frameworks give us a like kind of grid, which helps us to make this responsive design very easy. So what they do is they provide us a grid, and if we follow that, just if we need to just follow the grid and make our like HTML elements to follow their like they have that knowledge base and they have this documentation. So we just need to follow this documentation, and that's done. Like if I create a simple web page with this following a Bootstrap framework, so I don't need to add a single code of CSS to make that visible in responsiveness in mobile and tablets. So it will get automatically be adjusted to mobile and tablets. So that's the power of like CSS framework. So these are main things which CSS frameworks includes. So this is not order in importance, but if I want to order in importance, then I think the second point, which is grid for responsive web design. This is the main highlighting point of all the CSS frameworks. So all the webs, all those uh, like all the frameworks have this grid for responsive web design. So if I follow with this grid, then we need not to code any extra for the making our website responsive or like making web page. But like if we have some dynamic components, or if we have some lots and lots of HTML or than web page, so we might have need to customize a bit to make those visible fluently on the mobiles and tablets. But like definitely this grid and this responsive does makes our website view very easy. So and then we have this typography kind of things. So they have a standard they have made standard things for like headings, paragraphs, and buttons, forms, and then like kind of all this typography. Like they have standards, line height, they have standard, they have lots of standard things included in their like CSS framework. So if I have included that particular CSS framework, so I didn't need to care on like if some fonts are different, or maybe some lineages are different, or like if some spacing might be different because of some parent sections or all those things. So those are will become standards for me. So these days lot of these CSS frameworks provide icons also. So with the latest CSS like Bootstrap 5.0, they have introduced like Bootstrap icon also. And you must have heard the name of Font Awesome. They provide web font icons. So like these days, the CSS framework also giving icons. So we need to like use that Bootstrap kind of icon framework separately. And also Material framework is also there. They also give like icon sets for our websites. So there are some standard icons which they provide, and I can use them very easily without searching for any more images and all those things. So those also become standards because all the icons will be on same format, on same like sizing methods. So if I want to change the size, I can just make them generic. But if we don't use like CSS frameworks, then what will happen is like I will be searching for images for icons. So like say if I need to check an icon for cart. So for cart, there should be a shopping cart icon. So I am searching for images, and then I found the images which is like kind of partial gray, and I have a real head home icon. So that is black. So I need to do some like work on maybe Photoshop or maybe some other editor to make them same color, same sizing. But with this kind of including these icons from framework, I no need to worry about all those things. So they have this definitely styling for this tooltips, buttons, and all those elements. So they have this. We have like standard text boxes, standard radio buttons. So they have all this design. So we just need to like place their classes, and that's it. Like they were like styled the way the Bootstrap is done. And we also have lots of components kind of thing, which is like they can be accordions, tabs, slideshows, and there can be pop-ups like which are modals are the name of different name of like for pop-up. So there are say slideshow. So all these components are like predefined in the CSS framework. So they definitely give a big help to a UI developer, like UI designer kind of person who can easily integrate on all these things on their website with very less knowledge of CSS. Let's say if like if you're creating a website and you don't need to hire a like a kind of proper UI developer with a prominent experience in CSS kind of things. So you can use a CSS framework and you can do most of the things, 90% of the things without any help of uh, most CSS. And then there comes the CSS helper classes. So what is like helper classes? So these are like a kind of things which generally help to control the elements. So let's say if I need to make a text alignment on the right side, so what I will do is I will like inspect that element. Maybe like I have some text in the menu section. So let's say menu, and then there is section, and then I have to make it text right. So what I will do is I will write a CSS with this. This if a div comes into the menu, then make it text align right. And let's say if I again make some text right to at some other place, so I will need to write some other CSS and kind of thing. So CSS gives some classes, like see, this CSS framework gives some classes. So there is a at some CSS framework there is a class text right, then some way some they give text end, or sometimes they give like align right. So this all depends on the what CSS framework you are using. But all everyone has this helper classes, so you can just inject that class name within that HTML tag, so that if you want to align right the text within a div, so what you will do is div class text right, so it will automatically align text all the text to the right side on that div. In the same way we have this like classes for showing, like displaying a object, displaying a div, displaying a block level element into uh, like block method or flex method, or like hiding a div. So they always give this kind of classes. Or like we want to get some spacing in terms of padding and margin. So like if I want to give some padding, like spacing within the content or maybe spacing between the contents, so I can use this margin and padding classes from the CSS frameworks, and that will be done for me very easily. They also give some helper classes for responsiveness. So let's say if you must have seen there might be a different sometimes there might be a different menu uh, for a website for mobile and like tablets and like bigger screen. So what you can do is you can create two menus, and then you can hide one for mobile and hide second, show second for mobile, and this vice versa. So this this frameworks give out classes like hide for mobile. Like if in foundation you will see classes hide for mobile, hide for large, hide for small kind of things. And in bootstrap they have this hide in sm is basically small medium, and hide for access is extra small. So they have different methods of using that. They have different class names, so you need to get through this documentation of sales framework, but they definitely help with their class names. These helper classes are the second biggest thing I will say. Like for me, if you ask me, so the best thing which CSS framework is helping is like responsive web design, and second is the classes they are giving. So with those classes, I can very easily adjust my layout. I can very easily get my layout easily visible on all the screen sizes without adding like lot of CSS. So I don't need knowledge of kind of knowledge of more CSS languages, but I can just inject their classes into my HTML, and that will be done. Okay, so no questions till now. So let's get to next slide. So now we already talked about like what is CSS framework is, and we already talked about what they provide. So again, just we can get it like how these CSS frameworks helps. So but as I already told, like they have predefined classes. So why should I use this framework? I can write my own classes. I can get my helper classes. Like if there are 100 helper classes in Bootstrap, I need only four. So I think one should say like I will not use this framework. I will just read my. I will just create my five classes. One for like responsive tablet, and one for responsive mobile. And I will create a CSS file for just like alignment and spacing and hiding. I just need three. So you can also create those. So that becomes 10 to 15 classes for you. But some people will say like if someone already done this work for you, though, so why should I repeat? So there is like kind of hard work and there is kind of smart work. So these days people choose smart work because these days time is very critical. So sometimes client is also asking like this always this are sometimes this happened for us also. Like client is asking like you need to change this layout, and we need to work this, we need to get this website working mobile also, and we have released next week. So if you can do that. So we were like what, like this is a big website of 10 pages, how can we be responsive and mobile ready in a week? So here in a week is not possible. Like CSS framework, if we need to get that done with CSS, so I would say that will take a kind of 1 month kind of thing, even more than that, including this all testing this. But with the help of CSS framework, what I can do is if we have already using the CSS framework from starting, so kind of 70% my website would be mobile friendly. So what I need to do is I need to make some fixes here and there, and that will be mobile ready, and I can start the mobile testing from day one itself. So that can be done pretty fast. So if the job is, if half of job is done for someone else, then I should use that. Why should not? And excuse me. And what CSS framework, how can they help? They have standard, very much very there are lots of components. They have standards, providing standards for a website, like their headers, containers, as you can read in the second paragraph. They have headers, image cards, like there are a lot of components they have giving as a standard for a website. So we can just inject that, and there they will be standard for all the pages. If any one of you is like in maybe new in website design, so sometimes what will happen is like your header, sometimes what will happen is your header is appearing differently in one page, and on other page it's appearing differently. So why it happens? Sometimes it taken classes from like parent elements. So this thing will very less chances for these things to happen if we are using like these CSS frameworks. So in last few years, I have used like Bootstrap. Like in most of the projects, Bootstrap would be using, but I also got a chance to use like Semantic and Foundation also, like in few of the projects. But like again, if you say like I have read somewhere, I think few months back, the Bootstrap is I think the website which are using CSS frameworks. So Bootstrap is the most used, and I guess it was used by almost 42 or 45 percentage of website which are using CSS frameworks. So let's say if out of 100, out of 200 websites, 100 websites are using frameworks. So out of those hundreds, like 40, 45 websites are using Bootstrap, and other those, and there are lots and lots more other frameworks. So others are using from those others. So here, like if you see, if someone say why you are using CSS framework, you can just quote this, like time is money. If and I gets more time to make a website, and someone other is getting that in very less time, so he will definitely get the money and not me. So like we need to get that done very fast and like standardized. So I will use CSS frameworks. So here are few CSS frameworks which are using so they're just power fluctuation. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay. So it's got disconnected for like for a few seconds. Okay, so these are like a few popular CSS frameworks, and I guess if you guys are into web design or web development, so if not, then even if not, then you are into someone designing field, or maybe you are familiar to web field, so you might have heard of any of these two, or maybe many of these frameworks. So like to name, like there is Bootstrap, Material, Foundation, then Bulma UI Kit, Semantic UI, and then there is Material. So these are all like kind of CSS frameworks. And what if I want, if I say like these are more and more popular, that would not be wrong. And to understand that popularity, these days, like if you say there are some JS JavaScript frameworks, like if you have heard like coding in Angular and React and all those things. So all those some of those frameworks also coming with this JS framework attached. So like these are kind of become necessity of a UI role, UI developer role. Like if these days what is happening is, if I starting on a web project or web UI projects, so what first thing we will do is I will add a CSS framework, I will add a JS framework, I will add a jQuery framework, and I will add an icon framework, and then we will start. So these are like kind of prerequisites kind of things on a website. Okay, so let's now just go through one by one what this like CSS framework is providing us, as we already talked about on few of them, but just to get that bit in detail, like to with this like kind of images or kind of to get better understanding, I will just edit this and summarize in one page. So what CSS framework, the biggest thing which CSS framework is giving is responsive web design. So it definitely help us in kind of making a website easily readily visible in all the devices, as you see in the picture. So if a website is responsive, then it can be visible in all these devices, maybe it big screen or laptop or mobile or tablets. So when a web person is visiting a website, so this is the very first need of a website. Like someone is giving me okay, Kapil, I want this website, but will my website work on mobile as well? So this is the first demand these days. Like this should work on mobile or tablets and all those things. And at some places, like they are using the mobile first approach. Some clients do mention that our website should work on mobile. I don't care about the big size, or I don't care about laptop. Like our most of or most of clients are on tablets and mobiles. So as you have seen in some, maybe there are some ticket booking softwares. Like if you go to some mall, or if you go to some shopping sites or shopping malls, so they have some software installed on tablets, and they are getting some billing done on the tablet itself, and there are maybe some registration going through on the tablet itself. So there are lots and lots of clients which do carry only about mobile and tablets. So these days on some website, mobile first is also getting very popular. So some of the CSS frameworks uh, do do take their approach to mobile first. So they put the mobile first, and then they give their support on desktop and like bigger screens. So there are both the approach. We can have this responsive web design, like getting ready for a website on laptop, and then going downward through mobile and tablets. And some of the frameworks providing with the mobile first approach, and getting the classes for like a bigger screen, all those things. What this mean is, like if you are creating a website, and you want that particular component visible to mobile as well, so you need to add some code. Like if some, let's take an example. So there is a component for me which is a user card. Like there is a picture of user and details, and then profile kind of thing, you can say. Like there is a basic profile, and if I want to make this visible to mobile also, so let's say I have to add a tag to my div display for mobile, so it will get displayed on mobile as well. And in some frameworks it works like in a opposite way. Like you have made a user card, so it will be displayed in mobile. So if you want to display in large screen also, so show for large, so that need to be added for large screen. So these are different in both approaches. So how this responsive thing work? So this responsive thing work with this grid system. So each CSS framework give us like this grid system, and this generally help making our things responsive. So what this happen is, like if I want to display some of my component in two columns, so I will just this two column grid. If I want to display break my this vertical width into four column, I can take four column. And in responsive, what Bootstrap will do is, so Bootstrap will take that single column at once. So if my website, if my device width is decreased, so that grid will definitely come from four parts to one part only. So as you see in this four column, these are coming like 1 to 4, 1 to 4, 1 to 4 in a horizontal row. Like, and if I convert this device to mobile, so how it will appear is, it is appearing one below another, 104, 104, 104. So as you say in responsive design, you must have seen like if you can see these blocks. So there are these blocks, blue block and dark blue block and light blue block. So in bigger screen, these are coming horizontally, and in tablet, instead of three blocks, they are showing just two blocks, and next is in next line. And then mobile, these are coming one below another. So what we need to do is to make it responsive, I need to get some CSS code done, like show this in 30% width, and show it in 50% width on tablets. So in 50% width, there is only two will appear on one line, and in mobile, should show in 100% width one component. So that will only one component will appear on one width, and second one is going next line. So this Bootstrap with the help of not only Bootstrap, sorry, all the CSS framework with the help of his grid system, they will give us this automatic thing. So if we just follow this grid thing on any CSS framework, so it will automatically do this responsive thing for me. It will automatically convert this like elements, arrange these elements on devices, big tablet and mobiles automatically for me. So using grid system is really easy. You just need to follow the guidelines on like all the frameworks websites. So they just provide their you the with the guide, and like you if you resize this browser window, you will see that they will automatically get either shrinked or expand kind of things. So if you want to know how a grid work and how what a grid is, so you can just see this website. Like these are like I have taken this image from here. So this is what a grid is like. And if this is grid is made in Bootstrap or any other CSS framework, so this will automatically expand and like collapse on base of uh, screen size. So let's just reduce the screen size. So you will see that this is automatic red string, but this is not in a CSS framework. This is the basic. So that's why they are like just getting stringed. So next thing, what a CSS framework will give us is like they provide us standard icons. So as I already mentioned, let's say I want to use social icons from a website. So I'm taking icons like a Twitter icon from Twitter websites, LinkedIn from LinkedIn websites, and Pinterest website from Pinterest website. So in the same, they all have different icons. So what I need to do is I need to get some icons, make them standard in theirs. But instead, like I can use this and I can just change the color. Like these web fonts icons always provide you with the options to change their colors, because they are like kind of fonts and not just these images. So they are just SVG images which can be resized and recolored in any browser with the help of CSS, just this one CSS. So these are again they provide some standard thing which can be used. Excuse me. Along with this responsive and responsive web design grids and icons, they also provide all the CSS framework provides us with some components, basic components. So what they provide us is they provide us some standard components. I have taken this icons from Bootstrap. I have taken this accordion example again from Bootstrap. I have taken from this example from PrimeNG website. So there are lot of CSS frameworks there, like Foundation and all those things. So they provides their own set of these things components. So we need to just make create a div block, create a HTML block, and just inject their own classes. So these components will already get styled that way. Um, let's say if I want to make a disable button, I want to create a button which denominates like a negative sign. So in that way, I need to get the red button. So I don't want to change its color. I just need to place like button HTML tag, and what I need to do is I need to just I need to do just make a class addition onto that, like button, and the class is equal to maybe danger, maybe red, whatever like this CSS framework provide us. So we need to just add this class name and just done. So we don't need to make this classes again and again and again. So we just need to change class name, and these things will be done. And for it's in the same way, like these are some alert message examples. So if I getting that alert message done, so we can just need to we need to just create a block element with the name of either alert or maybe some message, and then I need to change the class name to success, to maybe fail, or maybe error, or maybe warning, and this whole the display will get automatically changed. We need to get uh, it's not like that we need to get this icons and like headings, and all things don't need to be styled. If you see, like there are few elements which are like styled. In case of button, they have this text color, background color, border radius, and all the things. So these are all styled in a way for all the different categories. In the same way, if we see on this alert messages, they're also styled, like there are different icons, there are different the heading, font weight, there are different background color for all the different styles. So I need to just use this class name, and all the style will be done automatically with this frameworks. So we don't need to worry about this all the styling done. So again, this I already mentioned, like there are helper classes which do help us in making some alignments, making some showing hiding things, and making some utility classes there. So all the frameworks helps us with these helper classes. So this is all a CSS framework which do. So they provide us lots and lots of things. Like if again we if once again we just see the points, so they provides us with a grid, they provides us with responsive design, they provide us components, they provide us with graphical graphical components, like they also provide us with styled components like buttons and like text boxes and all those things, styled radio buttons and all those things, and then this typography kind of things, then icons kind of things. So all these things provided with CSS frameworks. So with this kind of 1 hour or so, I think I have made all of you satisfied with, like, this is framework is very prominent and very critical part of a website designing. But is there any twist? Yes. Like lot of people thinks we should not use CSS frameworks. uh, I would like say I'm not on them. Like I'm not among those who think like CSS framework should not be used. But yeah, I do agree on some of the points. So we will just discuss few points which are debatable. Like should I use a CSS framework or should I not? Again, this depends on like what kind of website you are running or what. Hello, I thought someone is saying something. Okay, let's continue. So there is always a debate. You can also search on net, like if I need CSS framework or not. So there are few developers who always say like you should not use CSS framework. Instead, you should use your own written CSS. So their biggest point in debate is like if you write on CSS, then that CSS is your own and not someone else. So if you're using someone else CSS, like you are not showing your creativity, or you maybe you are not getting into deep into learning on that. So we will take these few debatable points one by one. So first thing, like what I have done is like there are a few debatable points. What I've done is I have on those points I have just mentioned one point which favors frameworks, and another point which doesn't favor frameworks. So so it depends on the user, the or maybe you can decide you want to use frameworks or you don't want to use. So the first thing is like frameworks give you more power, but again, it has like lots of unused CSS out there. So if you see like CSS frameworks gives us power, as in like a few previous slides we already see that it gives us power of like pre-built components, pre-built helper classes, pre-built like responsive design. So it gives lots and lots of power to us. But again, we have lots of unused CSS uh, which will present there on websites. So what developer these days do is they just include all those libraries like jQuery UI library, then Fontosum library, then Bootstrap, and then some other kind of library to tooltip library, then some other kind of UI library to help us to show some things. So these are kind of libraries they're just got adding and adding and adding. What this do is this will create a more and more lot of CSS. So if I take just an example of website, like we have this like example. So how can it give us more power is they have pre-built buttons, and how this unused CSS is like if you see at the image in the bottom, this website will include I have like cropped the name of website, but like they have include jQuery Mobile, Bootstrap, then they have this Bootstrap JS and jQuery JS. So if you see like this is the unused 70% and 97% of Bootstrap is not used. So Bootstrap has lots and lots of classes. So they are just using 3% classes of Bootstrap. So here the debate comes is if you are just using 5%, so why not write that 5% CSS by yourself? So you are not using power of Bootstrap. So if you want just grid, so again this Bootstrap foundation, what they provide is you can do. You should not include this whole the Bootstrap. You can just what you can do is you can just include this their grid system, and if you want to just do the grid system or you want to include this buttons, so you can include this component also. So there are like a medium there is also a middle approach which can be just include that particular component. So here the debate is if you need like a kind of quick development and more standard components, you can use Bootstrap. And if you care about like I'm using just 2-3% code of that thing, so I can just I should write those CSS for me by me itself. So second big thing which acts as a decider for you to like CSS framework should be used or not. This is like if you have a small project or big project. So let's say you are working on a website which is just of 2-3 pages. So they and 2-3 pages, and also like there is a website which is a kind of just a textual and not too much of components given. Like your website has few buttons and your website doesn't have any this kind of component just like uh, no alert messages, no modal pop-up boxes, no accordions, no tabs. So you didn't need Bootstrap too much. So what you need is you can just write some few lines of CSS to make that responsive, and few lines of CSS to style your buttons or like one or two components which you're using. So if you are using a small projects, so we didn't think that it's Bootstrap is needed. And if you are running on a big project, so you can use that Bootstrap to make that mobile friendly or maybe to make that responsive designs. So that definitely make your work very easy to make that mobile friendly and make that visible on all the devices. So again, if you just read through this last line, if you don't have many UI elements in your pages or in app, you don't need a framework. So let's say if you are just, as I already mentioned, you have just 2 pages website and you are using just 2 or 3 components, then why should you Bootstrap or any foundation or any framework? So you will also see with this kind of you also end up with this kind of statistics, like only you will be using only 1 or 2 or 3% of like CSS which are included in your website. One other thing which came into debate is like this including inclusion of these frameworks will definitely like make your performance a bit slow. So how does this affect is like let's say you are a blogger and your website is just for like making blogs. So what your website will content is there is some small bio of yourself, like kind of image or your name or your like heading, and then you have just maybe one or two images for that blog area, and then you are just textual. So if this is your website and every page will be the same phase, so you don't need any CSS framework. What you need to do is you just can make your custom CSS code, and that's done. So again, all these things depend on what kind of your website you are developing, or what size of website you are developing. So again, like if you want your things get speedy, what these days are like I've seen few developers. You can count me in that also. I need to create a like just 3 page website for my client, and again that the time which was given to me was just in like 2 days. So they have given me content, they have given me design, and they say like this is just a small textual website, so it should be like kind of 1 or 2 days work. So just get it done. So I was like, he has not mentioned like it should be mobile friendly or it should be like responsive kind of thing. But as for I was thinking like later on he might be asking for mobile friendly also. So I need to again get that code done again and again and again. So what I have done is I have just include Bootstrap, follow those like responsive rules, and get that done is one day, and another day this responsive thing also done. So the client was happy, and but so I've also did that. So we need to do those things sometimes. But again, like if some client is really care about browser performance and they have some textual websites, so you should not use CSS frameworks. So we have this like some points which are like kind of decider for CSS frameworks to be used or not. So there can be some new CSS, and there can be some like browser performance issue. And one one more thing which is this is the I think most biggest thing for me, because if you see the Bootstrap CSS kind of thing which you can see here, like these if you include this, if you see the size of this, those are those are kind of in KBs. So if you see this, it's I think just 120 or I think 12 KB. Yeah, 120 KB kind of thing. So these are not too much big of in size. So for me, like these unused CSS and this browser performance doesn't make any prominent difference. So this browser performance will decrease if you are using a lot of animations, lot of images. So this CSS framework incluses doesn't show any browser performance issues. Uh, the persons which is saying like it affects browser performance, they are just counting a point for not using frameworks. So this is for me this is the biggest issue which you can which you can uh, which you can like kind of see in not using CSS frameworks. So sometimes what will happen is like if you are using a CSS frameworks, your CSS file will be very small. So this is the plus point. You will need to just make your classes ready. Like if you're creating a button, so what you will do is you will just create a button with this button tag BUTTON and that tag, and you will just add on classes. So if I want a rounded button, so like framework is giving a class name called rounded, so you will do add a class rounded. You want some highlight button, primary button, you just add a primary. You also need some like rounded and your shadowed button, so you will say shadowed. Or you will like if you say just stroke button, some CSS frameworks give us like a button kind of thing. Look, if you let me show you this Bootstrap buttons. So if you see here, they have buttons. Then these are kind of this kind of stroke buttons and this kind of large button. So let's say if I want a primary button with large size and this outline. So what I can do is I need to add this class btn. I need to class this add outline. I need to add this class primary. I need to add this class button LG for big. So I need to just keep on adding these classes. So the debate here comes is like your HTML will become kind of cluttered. So you will be seeing like there is 700 classes in, like if you want to add some spacing, so you are adding the classes margin left, and you are adding a classes spacing. You are adding a classes for like hide this button for mobile, so hide for mobile. So there is one single element, and you are keep on adding classes all there and there. So the debate here comes is like for me, like if I have a small website and I have a standard button for all this, like I didn't use 10 kind of buttons. I just use like maybe two sort of buttons, which is like large outline. And so what I will do is I will create my custom button with a class name button custom, and I will add shadow, I will add round corners, I will add this all those thing properties in one class. And what I will do is I will just create a button, and I will just add a class name my button or button custom. So my HTML will be very clean and neat. So again, this this comes the debate. Like you can either you can choose if you have very low knowledge of CSS, or you want speedy work, you can choose CSS framework. Or like you have some small website which you don't want to clutter your HTML, you can opt out of CSS framework and write your own CSS. So we have this debate. We have these points on which we have chosen like either we need to use CSS frameworks or we don't want to use. So here comes the question. Like let's say I have a small website, but I don't want to use CSS framework. So what I should do? I need to use my own CSS. But is that really possible to get the same result with my own CSS? So do we have any alternatives which we can use? Like, is there any middle way? Like, say, I have mentioned that you have a website with just 2 pages and no components over there, but there is no website which will have no components. Let's say your website has grown a bit and you have now 6 to 7 pages. You have made that responsive thing done with your CSS, which is like using the same on all the pages. But in new pages, you have some tabs, you have some few things which you have added. So now after being your website get 10 pages, you cannot go back and say like now I will see Bootstrap and I will get the scratch. That can be done, but that again is time consuming. So if you have chosen if you have chosen to saying no to Bootstrap, no to any framework, so is there any alternatives which you can pick from start itself? Yes, there are. So you can choose this CSS methods, which will definitely help you, which will definitely help you on which will definitely help you on creating this magic like kind of responsive thing without taking care of the without taking help from frameworks. So you have this grid grid technology. You have this Flex CSS, and you can use like say if you are using a tabs, you are including some tabs on your page. So what you can do is you can just go to internet and search for some tabs, and not from CSS framework but from other libraries. So what you can do is you can just get that tab code kind of CSS and code, and you can get that done without including any framework. So it also gives some give you independence, if everyone is using frameworks. So frameworks, what frameworks gives us is they gives us some standard kind of look and feel. So if you want to customize your tabs, you want to customize your components in your way in your website look and feel, which match your website look and feel. So what you need to do is you need to again go on with your CSS, customize CSS. So adding this frameworks get in vain. There's sort of no use. So what you can do is you can choose the components from any of your websites, and then you can You can get the component which matches your website theme or matches your website. So let's check this a code per example. So if you see, if I see here, they don't have included any CSS, any CSS including, they don't have included any CSS framework. They have just pure HTML and CSS example. So this is a CodePen. CodePen is a website which has which is a community which has lots and lot of pre-built code snippets, pre-built code examples which we can use for our own website. So they have just this HTML and they have just this kind of CSS, which you can see they have this kind of flex properties there. So they have just uh, display flex kind of thing, and it's done with the flex method. So they have the display flex kind of thing, and they have this all done with display. So if I just reduce this size of the screen, so make just take your just see this below part, so it will get responsive. So it is just adjusting with the screen size. So whatever screen size is, it's adjusting this content, it's like placement. So all this is done with the flex. So if your website is just contain few components which is like your header, footer, and just in small categories, so you can make this responsive with the help of flex, and you don't need to include this heavy features frameworks which are not too heavy, but like sometimes it is. Again, there is some article like this CSS Tricks, also a very good websites. They have some code snippets. So they have done this grid thing. So grid thing is not pretty easy to do. I will recommend this flex is easy for responsive. But if you want to use the grid only without using CSS framework, so you can go through this article, and this grid can be created without and it is purely responsive. So you can use this grid, and then you can use your own grid instead of CSS frameworks grids. So these are a few things which you can always use as an alternative if you don't want to use frameworks. So as you can see, we have seen some snippets of CodePen and kind of CSS tricks. So CodePen and Stack Overflow are few websites which has lots and lots of pre-built examples of not only HTML CSS but also HTML CSS, JavaScripts, and some others web technologies. So you can go through those and you can pick those examples if you are not using predefined libraries, either jQuery library, either kind of jQuery mobile, or any of the pre-built framework or library. So you can use those snippets. So if you want to have very few components or very few pages, you can always say no to CSS frameworks. But you are if you are do care of it should be responsive 100%, and I have pretty big websites, and I'm not ready for lot of customized, then go for CSS frameworks. So we have already talked about what CSS framework can do, their powers, and very few their negative points. And then we have gone through some debate points which I shouldn't CSS framework or not. And we also have a kind of see alternatives which one CSS framework can do. So if we just go through the summary, so there are lots and lots of plus points in this CSS frameworks, which are again responsive design, which again we don't need to spend too much time on responsive design testing, because as we keep on designing this, it will be automatically responsive. So there are only few areas which doesn't to get responsive, so we need to just test this. Otherwise if you are getting the responsive on your own, so you need to get the testing done. So again, this time thing, and there is kind of implementation thing which is very critical for this websites. So again, if your team is very less knowledgeable over CSS, so they can also use a CSS framework and get that done very quick. So you do not need to hire any CSS expertise which is expert in grid system or flex or kind of these technical things. And again, these are very browser friendly, so they do support all the browsers, so you don't need to take care of responsiveness on all the browsers. If you are using tabs of those Bootstrap, So you need to take care of all the browsers. So these tabs will work on all the browsers, but you are creating your own tabs, then you definitely need to take care of on all the browsers. And if you ask me, Internet Explorer is the most browser which every UI developer hates, because most of the errors come in this I only. And if I talk about the negative things, then there is browser performance, and that is very for very few people. So if you see on articles on internet, it says these points really come very few, it's browser performance, because like it's not a very heavy in size. And again, they have some standard components, so they have some limitations. That if you want to customize, then you want to again create your own CSS. Then if you are making your own CSS, then why should I use this frameworks? So in nutshell, what we can say is the CSS frameworks have lots and lots of advantages, but there are very few drawbacks also attached to them. So if you want to use this framework or not, it's your own. It should be your own decision. And again the need of your websites. If you ask me, like for me, sometimes this or site type bound us to use the sales framework. Sometimes time frame, like there's very less time, so that bound us to use sales framework. And sometimes clients wants, like, okay, please create with this website for me, and let's use the bootstrap because that is standard. So client has their own norms, some clients, so they bound us to like use the sales frameworks. So the key idea for a UI developer is always be, if you are either using framework or not, just stick to your best practices, stick to your principles, stick to the standardized things which are there. So with this, I think we are done with this today's topic. So if anyone have any questions or want to get back to some slide or some topic, then we can pick that.
Yeah, guys, you can ask your questions. Okay, Sakshi has a question. Is basically what is the work of the UI designers?
Again, this is a kind of debatable. Designers, if you could say, designers is kind of role which includes from prototyping. Like the role of designers is basically, graphic designer is very uh, different. Graphic designing includes the prototyping for Photoshop, to getting designing done in Photoshop, Figma, and all those things, like to just to deliver that to UI person. But again, if you ask to a UI developer, that again need to be done. So there is a middle part, which is UI designer also need to take care of prototyping also and HTML also. So if you ask me, there are four you can break that role into four parts, which is prototyping in Photoshop, then getting the HTML CSS ready, and then getting the JavaScript and things ready. So graphic designer is Photoshop only, UI designer is Photoshop plus HTML, UI developer is HTML plus JavaScript kind of thing. So these are kind of you can bifurcate roles. But these days, what industry is asking is, if you are UI designer, so you should be prominent is HTML CSS, but you should also have some hands-on on like Photoshop kind of thing and JavaScript kind of thing. So this is kind of middle person, the UI designers.
So what kind of coding we should know when we are working at UI design?
I think bit of JavaScript and jQuery is enough. Like if you want to go on, then there is no end. You can go to like web technologies kind of PHP on those things, but again that will go through UI developers, not designers. As a designer, you are expected to know this HTML CSS, and then Java, hands-on on JavaScript and jQuery. Like these are enough.
Sir, what is the difference between Java and jQuery? And what we should be know in UI design?
Java is pretty different. Like Java is kind of it's a server-based scripting language. It is not not particularly like a website which we are using a referring website. JavaScript is what is linked to websites. So JavaScript is kind of a base language on which jQuery and other, like if you have heard Angular and all those things, all those are developed through JavaScript. So you just need to have some basic of JavaScript, and then jQuery is the thing which you will be using the components. Like you must have this jQuery tabs, jQuery kind of components. So there are lots of components. So JavaScript and jQuery are attached to this or web. So there is the kind of from Pritam, and Ashu Singh already answered yes. So yes, it's in yes for me also. Like media query is the thing which is get for responsiveness. If you have seen this code pen, like I have seen this, so they have used the flex. But again, if this flex is changing, if you see the screen size is decreasing, so these are coming in one line. So what how this happening is they are using this media query. If you see, like this is the media, and if a screen size is get below 600, so this is changing the flex method. So if it's again 800, so this is again this changing the flex outroad flex direction. So yes, media query is definitely required for responsiveness. You know, if you want to use this, again this Python or this like all these languages are different and they have all different roles. This Java, Python, these are not like web technologies. These are like kind of web applications technologies, but again these are not like UI. These are not related to UI perspective. So there are a lot of other knowledge also, like .NET and Java and Python and C Sharp. So there are a lot of other knowledges, but I cannot comment which is more useful and which are very less, because I am not into these things. So I think I'm not the correct persons to answer this.